Okay, so I'm gonna do the challenge one book a week, where I'm gonna be reading one book throughout the whole week for about a month. And I'll vlog every single day of it and everything I learned throughout the book. So this is day one of one book a week. So right here beside me, I have my notes. If I look over them, this is what the book. So the book that I started off is Mastery by Robert Greene. So in that book, in the first chapter, basically the concept of the first chapter is finding your purpose. But the book in general is about mastering yourself. But in the first chapter, it's called about mastering your purpose. And in the first chapter, it has 5 steps that you should do in order to master your purpose and really know what your purpose is. If you don't know it yet, your calling, the reason that you wake up every day. So, step number one is find out what you love to do when you were a kid. So this is a personal experience for me because when I started doing YouTube, when I started doing anything, I really wasn't sure if it's something that meant meaningful work to me, if it's something that I really wanted to do or not. So looking at this, it really had to set me back and remember what did I used to dream of as a kid? What did I used to do as a kid? Well, as a kid, I used to play a lot of Legos. Well, as a kid, I used to build a lot. As a kid, I used to grind a lot on video games. And then you can base it around that. And then step number two, which is niche it down. Now, for a lot of us, we have like the idea of we have so many things what we want to do. So like so many things because we do a lot in our childhood, but we really don't know what our purpose is. So you keep doing and doing all those things that you feel like are your purpose until you finally come to that one thing that you will really stay committed to. And after that is number three, don't take a forced path they don't want. So basically, this what it means is having your parents to force you to follow the path that they made for you. For example, your parents could tell you to go to college, or maybe you're someone who is not fit to go to college when your parents force you to. Or say, for example, you're someone who is very skilled at playing the piano, but you don't want to play the piano, but your parents force you to play the piano. It's basically that idea, don't let anyone force you from doing what you want. And then number four, don't let past failures hold you back. So when pursuing your purpose, when pursuing your calling, you're gonna meet a lot of failures in life. You're gonna fail a lot. And don't let those failures hold you back. For example, you might be a boxer who just lost a boxing match because he went arrogant. Rather than retiring, maybe you should pick up yourself and work and improve better. That's the main concept of it. And five is you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. So basically what you have to do is there's a lot of things that you have in life. You may have comfort right now. You may have the money right now. But you have to learn how to sacrifice them in order to do what you want. So for example, if you're stuck at a full-time job that it's stopping you from pursuing your dream, that's stopping you from doing the thing that you want to do with your life, then maybe you should consider stopping doing that. Consider sacrificing that, or maybe you should consider sacrificing your own comfort in order to achieve that result. So now, after that, I'd like to touch on a quick note. The book says, if you focus on the money, problems will arise. So when you're doing something in your calling, you should not focus on the money or the results of it. You should focus on enjoying it. But if you focus on the money, problems will arise, like the book said. And now let's touch on chapter 2. Now, I like to start off chapter 2 with a quote from Leonardo da Vinci that I really liked. One can have no smaller or greater mastery than mastery of oneself. Leonardo da Vinci. Now, that means is the best mastery you can have is the one where you master yourself. Where you master yourself as an individual, where you master yourself as your self-image. So in this chapter, I went through half of it. I still haven't completed it. It is a long chapter. So for the most part, what I went through is the apprenticeship. This is a chapter about apprenticeship. In the book Apprenticeship, what it means is learning. So in order to learn, there's 4 stages that you have to go through that this book tells you about. So stage number 1 is deep observation. Excuse me, 3 phases. The 3 phases. And phase number one is deep observation. So if you're someone who started a new job, if you're someone who started your new calling and you're already working in that place, rather than try to show off and flex your ego, you observe the environment. You observe how things operate around you, observe how the social dynamic is and the power dynamic in your industry, in your business, in your work is. And that's the first stage, is that you have to observe to learn. And so in the second stage is skill acquisition, where you practice it. So after you observe and you understand more of the social dynamic, more of how things work around there and get the feeling of it, you start practicing and how to do it. So once you practice how to do it, you can so you gotta start practicing how to do it. You gotta start practicing doing whatever you're supposed to be doing what you are observing and you are learning to do. And so in step number 3 is experimentation, which is doing it. So experience was actually doing it. I didn't get too far into that one, but I will tell you as of what I know as of right now. So doing it is experimenting. Active. What was it again? Active mode. Oh, active mode. So this is basically when you learn the thing and you can actually start doing it consistently on a consistent pattern. So when you master a skill, when you master a talent and any of that, you enter like a flow state when you're doing that work because you already know what you're doing. So it's basically what it means is entering the flow states that you are entering when you are focusing, when you know what you're doing, when you understand what you're doing. For example, right now, since I am explaining and since I know what I'm explaining about, I can get into a flow state and keep talking about what I'm explaining. So I did write down some important things from the book about the first step about observations that you should keep in mind. So when you're observing, when you're new at something, don't try to impress anyone. Don't get attention and don't try to prove yourself. Focus on mainly observing. So that was day 1 of mastery.